Hi folks, let's talk about putting together a package in Premiere Pro. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to open up your Premiere Pro, and if you have a Mac computer, you're going to sit there and watch the little Premiere Pro icon bounce in your dock there for a while, and then eventually it will open up and it will look like this. So you're going to come over here, you'll click New Project, you'll title it whatever it is you're going to title. Let's do Carrie's package demo. Make sure you save it in a place where you will be able to find it again, because if you do all this work and then you can't find it, that would be bad. That would be sad, and it would be bad. And suddenly I'm Dr. Seuss. I'm going to stop rhyming now. You click OK. And then this should be the workspace that opens up for you. If it looks different than this, if you don't have your 4 boxes, your 4 workspaces here, come up to the top and click Editing. So next thing you're going to do is come over here and click Import Media to start. And you will have to navigate to wherever it is that your video is living. So if you have it on a hard drive, an external hard drive, you can get it from there. If you have it saved somewhere on your computer, you can get it from there. Please do not edit directly from an SD card, or I don't even think you can do it from Google Drive. Don't attempt it, way too slow. Put the video someplace where you can find it and access it and keep it there for a bit. Because really what happens here is this area down here is not actually importing your video. It's just creating a link to wherever it is that that video is living. So if you move that video while you are in the middle of editing your project, Premiere Pro won't know where it is anymore. So make sure you have your video in a folder somewhere that will not change for a bit while you are working on your project here. So let's see here. I have something called sample package pieces. How about that? So let's see, we need my sample audio track. Let's get some B-roll. I don't know why there's a copy of that there, but there is. It's my sound bite, and we will import all of those. And there they are. Now I can use them in Premiere Pro. Okay, and again, remember you can scrub through them all here. So if you forget where it is that you had that scene where they were fighting, you can look and go, oh yeah, there it is. That's great. All right, first thing you are going to put down for your package is your opening sound. Now, for our purposes here, I'm going to start with the reporter track. If you are starting with either an interview soundbite, or if you have some really nifty nats, you will put that down first, the same way that we will put down a soundbite here in a little bit. But for simplicity's sake here, we're going to start with our audio track. And here is one that I have already done. In a different demo, we will talk about how to go about recording your audio track. So since this is only audio, you see the audio wave file here. This is kind of nifty because you can see the spots where I'm talking. So this will make editing your in and out points a little bit easier. And I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit, which is the plus sign. To zoom back out, you hit minus. To play, you hit the space bar.
Sample audio track. In 3, 2, 1.
All right, so obviously you are not going to put that portion into your package, right? At the start of your story, you will want to have about a second before we hear your first word. Whether that's of silence, whether that's of natural sound, whatever, you will want to make sure that you don't say your first word until about a second into your video. And this is so we don't accidentally upcut it in case we have the wrong mic up or the wrong audio source up in the control room, in case it gets rolled early, in case of a million other ways that we could accidentally cut off your audio. You want to give yourself a little bit of audio pad off the top. So I give it about a second. I eyeball it. It is nothing that is set in stone. Just make sure you have a little bit of slop before you get started. We're very glamorous in the TV business. Remember, your in point is I. So I want to start my audio right here. So I put I, and you can see it puts the little mark right there. And I'm going to play.
This is a sample audio track for a package. This audio will go on audio channel 1.
All right, and so that's my first audio track. You want to end it relatively close to where you you finish speaking, but not enough to actually sound like you're cutting yourself off abruptly. Because a lot of times at the end of our sentences, we will take a little bit of a breath. So you want this to sound relatively natural. You also will be able to trim this up and make it a little bit prettier if you need to when you are done. So at your out point, you hit O. And I will zoom this back out so you can see. So you can see this is the audio portion that we are now going to put on our timeline. So first one, you have this little sound wave down here. You're gonna drag audio only because you have nothing on your sequence yet. When you drop this here, you suddenly have both video and audio. Your reporter track, your narrative track goes on audio channel 1. Any of the really important audio will go on audio channel 1. So that will be your reporter track and that will be your interviews. Things that mean that the story will not make sense without that audio, you want on channel 1. The reasons for that go back to the days of tape and film, but we still follow those conventions here now. So now here's my reporter track.
This is a sample audio track for a package. This audio will go on audio channel 1.
So there you go. Now to change the audio channel, in case you're wondering, you have these two squares here. You have video and audio. If you wanted things to go into audio channel 2 automatically, you just drag the A1 down to next to the A2. Audio channel 3, you drag it down next to the A3. Audio channel 4, drag it down. You get the idea, right? But we want it on audio channel 1, so we'll drag that back up here, and you do the same thing with video. In general, your main video will go on video channel 1. Anything that you're embellishing with will go on subsequent video channels. But first, we're going to worry about the audio. So there's my first audio track. And we listen to it. Now to make sure that we are at the end of that for our next edit, your up and down keys will take you to each edit point. So if you hit your down arrow, it will put you at the end there. All right, now let's come back up here. To eliminate your ins and out points is Option X. I believe it's Control X on your, if you're using a PC. And I'm going to zoom this back out again so we can see this.
Your sound bites will also go on audio.
All right, so this will be the beginning of my second track here. And I am actually going to, I make a little noise here and I'm going to start my edit right after that. So there's my in point.
Your sound bites will also go on audio track 1.
All right. Let's see here, what comes next?
Let's insert a sound bite here.
All right, good. So that will be, whoops, our out point. So you click O. Now I made a mistake and I actually hit the period, which dropped that whole track down onto my timeline. I didn't want it on my timeline. I wanted it to push out point. But because I haven't had enough coffee, I accidentally put it onto my timeline. Undo is your friend. Command Z or Control Z if you are on a PC, or you can do, it's up here somewhere too. I don't remember. Oh, there it is. Edit, undo. We'll also do it up here as well. Okay, but it's a lot easier if you learn some of the quickie shortcuts. So now back to our narrative audio. All right, so now you see this right here is the section that I am going to drop onto my timeline. I have my timeline started, so I am actually going to hit the period and it's going to drop this little cut of audio right next to the one that's already on the timeline. And there you go. Guess what we're going to do now? We are going to come down here to our bin and we are going to find the thing that I have marked sought. We'll double click that. It will go up here onto our timeline. And now because I logged my video before we got started here, I know that around 104 is a soundbite that I want to use. So let's see here. To back up a few frames, you can hit the back arrow. To move forward a few frames, you can hit the front arrow. So to play, you hit the space bar. To stop, you hit the space bar. Okay. A lot of it is fairly standard across many editing softwares. So those are always good shortcuts to remember. Let's see here.
I've been everything from a samurai to a monster to a...
And I know that this ends right around 111.
Scavenger. It's a lot of fun.
So we'll use that as our soundbite. Okay. Now, obviously for this, I want not just her audio, I want her video as well. So you can see we are set up here for both video and audio. We have video and audio here. And again, I'm going to press the period, bink, and it's going to drop that onto our timeline down here. All right, so now we can listen back.
Audio track 1. Let's insert a soundbite here.
I've been everything from a samurai to a monster to a post-apocalyptic scavenger. It's a lot of fun.
So there you go. And there is your first soundbite. Now the next thing I know, because I wrote this, is I'm going to put another audio track down. So I'm going to come back up here. And I'm fairly certain that this right here is a 3, 2, 1. Because as we talked about, for your audio track, that is the way you want to start all of your tracks. It makes your life a lot easier. So let's see, for giggles.
Track 3 in 3, 2, 1.
There you go. Again, I took a deep old breath. So I'm going to try to, whoops, autosave is your friend, by the way. And this is computer software, so remember to save early and often. I'm going to make that my in point. Okay, and we'll talk about that in just a second here. I'm going to make that my out point, but let's see here. All right, so now we will take that and we will drop that on our timeline. And you basically continue on this until you're done.
Remember to put your nat sound on audio channel 2.
All right, we'll go past me making weird noises.
Always pause after saying 3, 2, 1. This will allow you to have a visual in your timeline of where your track actually starts. And this will make your life or your editor's life much easier.
And my out point. And again, hit period. And there's that audio track. You get the idea. And you just continue that all the way through the end. Whoops. All the way through the end of your audio. So now we have all of our audio down on our timeline. To quickly get to the front or the top of your timeline, it's function key, left arrow. To get to the end, function key, left arrow. To go to any of the other edits is up or down, depending on which direction you want to go in. All right, so now we have my lovely audio on there. Now we want to fill this in with video. So let's see here. Let's start with, we'll use this one here. We'll do this move here. So in general, you don't want your clips to be any shorter than about 3.5 to 4 seconds. They can be longer if there's a lot of stuff going on. If you're doing some crazy montage effect, they might be a little bit shorter than that. But in general, for news packages, you will usually have clips that are about 4 to 6 seconds long. And like I said, if there's something big happening in them, it can go on for longer. And that could also be up to 10 seconds if it's something really spectacular that you don't want to cut away from. Obviously, you keep going with it for as long as it needs to. In general, though, your edits will be about 4 to 6 seconds long. So when you're putting together your visuals, you want to keep it moving, okay? And you want to edit kind of in a rhythm. So your story will have a rhythm. So basically, we'll look at this here. All right, so we'll use that there. Whoops, that's a little short. All right, let's move that out. And you can see right here how long your clip is. So if you hit an out point, you're just like, ooh, that's a little too short, you can just take this and drag it back out. And there you go. So we will do this. She stops doing her little dance right around there. We'll call that good. So now you don't just want to drop this over what you have here on audio 1, because the audio of what's going on here in your clip will make that audio go away. And that would be bad. You want both your reporter track and the audio of what is going on in your scene to be on here. So your natural sound, like I said in the track, goes on audio channel 2. So we just drag the A1 down next to A2. And now when we hit period, it will go on top of that. So now the video is going over my narrative track, and we have the natural sound audio from whatever it is that these two are doing in that time. So see? So you heard the sound going on in the back of this scene while we were doing this. And again, so you will continue to do this. Let's do this. We'll use this. Whoops.
A pose.
All right. And we will do the same thing. So we will butt that up against this and we'll pop that down there. And you will continue to do this.
Package. This audio will go on audio channel 1. Your sound bites will also go on audio track 1.
All right, so you will continue to fill in all of the space so that there are no black spaces in between any of your pieces of video. And you will do this all the way through the end of your audio track, okay? And then after your audio track is done, you will put 10 extra seconds of video. Ideally, it will be something that will make sense after the end of your audio track, because we will probably see the first second or two of it before we move along to whatever happens next in the newscast. Okay, we call this pad. Always have 10 seconds of pad at the end of your packages. Okay, assume this is video that we won't see on the air, but make it so that if it does end up on the air, it's nothing that's going to be embarrassing. Okay. And that is after you are done with your story. So if your story is minute 32, you will give me at least a minute 42 of video, just to make sure we have enough so that we don't go to black on the air, because that would be bad. And we don't want that. So, so we call that pad. We do that at the end of all of our videos. So when you are done putting your masterpiece together, okay, and again, save early and often, you know, Control S, Command S is save. When you are done, and we'll go ahead and save this just because, you will watch it back. You will make sure that there are no black holes in it, that there are no flash frames in it. Flash frames are those, if your edit happens right as the change of a picture happens, sometimes you will see like a frame or two of a different piece of video, and it's almost like a subliminal message. You'll see that something happened on the screen, but you can't register exactly what it is because it happened too fast. We don't want any of those. You want all of your edits to be clean. So you'll want to check for those. On your timeline here, remember, you can zoom in and out with your plus and minus keys so that you can see if all of your edits are butted up against each other. The other thing that you can do is you'll want to make sure that your magnet is turned on, that's your snap. And what that will do is, let me go to the end of my timeline here. All right, so if I'm dragging stuff around and I'm butting pieces of video together, you will notice that when they snap together, there is a little triangle in the corner right up here, okay? That tells you that they are butted up against each other. If you overlap, you'll be able to see that overlap, okay? So all of that is overlapping video. That is pushed together. And if I take it back, anything back further than that, then you're going to see black on the air. So you want to make sure that they're put together, okay? And then again, you can zoom in as much as you want to make sure that they are actually snapped together, okay? And you can watch it back. And again, here's another tip, okay? If you want to watch it back in this window right here, in your upper right-hand window, and you want to watch it full screen to get the whole effect of it, you hit the tilde key, and that will bring that box full. Okay, to put it back, you hit the tilde key again. If you're working on your timeline and you need it to be bigger, tilde key. If you want to make any of your workspaces bigger, full screen, you hit the tilde key, and it will make it full screen for you. okay? So watch it back before you export it. Exporting is what we're going to do next. We're going to go File, we're going to go Export, Media, okay? Or you can do a Command M or a Control M. That will get you the same place. It will think, okay? Your export settings, your format will always be H.264. That's usually what it will pop up as the default. Your preset, you will come down here and you will change that to high quality 1080p HD. All of this is in Canvas, by the way. Okay. Output name, the thing in blue, you will click on that and you will name this something that makes sense. When you are in 128 later on, you will need to call this the slug line. But if you are in 121, name it something that makes sense. Put your name on it, and then carry package demo, and save. Okay, make sure you have export video and audio on, and then you'll come down here and you'll click export, and it will encode. And it will export, and when it is done, it will pop you back to this. It will save your thing again, and it will go, before you exit out, it will ask you if you want to save. So, you know, always save just to make sure. And then once you are done with your package, you will go to wherever it is that you exported it, and you will watch it back. You'll watch it back for audio quality, because sometimes the compression when exporting it from Premiere Pro into the MP4 format, sometimes the audio doesn't come out the same way that you think it sounded while it was on your timeline. So you might have to go back and adjust. Your audio level might be too low, or the natural audio level might be too high. If that is the case, we'll make this bigger here. You can make all of your audio lines bigger by just coming to where the divider line between each of the audio channels is and dragging up or down, okay? You will see in the middle of each of your audio channels is this line, okay? You can drag that up to make the audio louder. You can drag it down to make the audio quieter. You don't want to be messing with this too much, okay? You can also, if you know exactly how much you want it to change, you can right click and go to audio gain, just like I did, and actually type that in. When you are recording things out in the field, you should be aiming to have decent audio. Between -6 and -18 is what we are aiming for. All right, so there is some basic editing. I will have tutorials for a little bit more fancy schmancy stuff, but to get started, put down your reporter track first, unless you are starting with a sound bite or a big nat pop sound, in which case you will put it down just like we did this sound bite here, okay? That goes on channel 1. Any major sound goes on channel 1, your reporter track, your interview sound. Nat sound, background noise, which you should always have on your videos, that goes on channel 2. For stories that you might be adding music to, that will generally go on channel 3. Same with your video. For the most part, you'll put all of your video on channel 1. However, if this was a super long soundbite that we had here, and we didn't want to be staring at her for the entire time, we could put some B-roll on video channel 2. Let's see here. So let's see, we can do a few seconds of video here. We'll call that good. So you can always take this and put it there and cover up part of her sound. Now, instead of making that video completely go away, I put it on video channel 2 and it layers it on top of it. Because these are both opaque pieces of video, you won't see what's on video channel 1 when I put something on video channel 2. However, if we are adding text, which is in a different tutorial, that has an alpha channel, it keys. So you will be able to still see that video. And what this does is it means that, yeah, this isn't the greatest edit ever, but you get the idea. What this basically does is by putting it on a different channel is you can move it around and go, do I want it to start there? No, that's a little too soon. Maybe we'll move that back. And then it hasn't affected the original video that is there. So if I decide I really don't like this and I'd rather look at her the whole time, delete, gone. And your piece of video, your original piece of video is still there. All right. So there you go. You get a few pro tips and in between all of this stuff. But again, when you export, check to make sure that everything looks and sounds the way you think it does. And then you can drag it into the Google Drive and send me the link like I ask. So there you go. I will also have this written out for you. Video goes on channel 1, reporter audio and interview audio on audio channel 1, Nat Sound on audio channel 2. There you go.